As I stepped off the plane in Tainan, Taiwan, I felt the invigorating rush of adventure coursing through my veins. The vibrant colors, the bustling streets, and the tantalizing aromas of street food ignited my wanderlust. I had explored the ancient temples, tasted local delicacies, and soaked in the culture. Yet, deep within me, a thirst for more remained unquenched. A whisper in my heart pulled me toward Manila and Cebu City in the Philippines. The decision wasn't immediate. It took sleepless nights filled with excitement and trepidation before I finally booked my flight. Manila's reputation as a city of contrasts intrigued me. The chaotic urban sprawl juxtaposed with serene historical sites. I envisioned intricate jeepneys weaving through traffic, the scent of adobo wafting through the air, and the laughter of locals mingling with the sounds of the city. Cebu City, with its pristine beaches and rich history, beckoned me as the second leg of my journey. Each day, I immersed myself in research, poring over travel blogs, YouTube videos, and local guides. The more I learned, the more I felt an inexplicable connection to these places. As the day of my departure drew closer, my internal struggle intensified. A voice in my head questioned whether I was ready for such a leap. What if I faced language barriers? What if I got lost? Yet, another part of me, fueled by the experiences in Tainan, countered those fears. It reminded me of the moments of serendipity that often accompany travel, how every misstep can transform into a marvelous discovery. The flight to Manila felt like a leap into the unknown. I could feel the exhilaration building within me as the plane touched down. The humid air kissed my skin as I stepped out, filling my lungs with the essence of a new adventure. I navigated through the airport and caught a taxi, my heart pounding with anticipation. My first stop was Intramuros, the historic walled city. The cobblestone streets beckoned me as I strolled past centuries-old architecture. The mesmerizing San Agustin Church, with its Baroque facade, left me in awe as I pondered the countless stories held within its walls. The sound of distant laughter and lively chatter turned my gaze to Fort Santiago, a remnant of colonial history. I imagined the struggles and triumphs that unfolded in this very place, and as I stood there, I felt a deep connection to the past. With a pocket full of pesos, I ventured toward Rizal Park, a sprawling urban oasis. The sight of families enjoying picnics, children playing, and couples strolling hand in hand filled me with warmth. I sat on a bench, breathing in the vibrant atmosphere and reflecting on my journey. But just as I was losing myself in thoughts, my senses were awakened by the aroma of street food. I followed my nose to the vibrant food stalls. The sizzling sound of lumpia frying, the sweet scent of halo halo, and the welcoming smiles of the vendors made each bite an adventure. I indulged in adobo, tasting the perfect blend of savory and tangy. It was here that I realized travel wasn't just about seeing places, it was about savoring every moment. The next day, my explorations led me to the National Museum of Fine Arts. I marveled at the masterpieces that captured the essence of Filipino culture. Each painting told a story, a piece of history preserved in color and form. Suddenly, amidst the strokes of vibrant culture, I found myself contemplating the threads that connect us all as humans: art, love, struggle, and triumph. As I prepared to leave Manila, I felt a mixture of excitement and melancholy. I had only scratched the surface of the Philippines' vibrant tapestry, and the next stop, Cebu City, awaited with its promises of azure waters and historical treasures. I hopped on a flight, my heart racing for what awaited. Upon arrival in Cebu, the beauty of the island greeted me with open arms. The bright sun above cast a golden hue on everything. I made my way to Magellan's Cross, a symbol of the arrival of Christianity in the Philippines. Standing before it, I couldn't help but ponder the profound changes that occurred with each footstep in history. I spent my days exploring the vibrant markets, where the sounds of haggling and laughter filled the air. Each encounter led me to a new delight, a new delicacy to taste, a new story to hear. I was captivated by the warmth of the locals, who treated me like family, sharing snippets of their lives over steaming bowls of sinigang. Then came the day I had long awaited, a journey to Kawasan Falls. The ride through the lush countryside was like passing through a postcard. I felt like an explorer discovering hidden treasures, with the turquoise waters of the falls dancing in the sunlight. As I plunged into the refreshing water, surrounded by the raw beauty of nature, all my worries washed away. Here, in the embrace of the falls, I felt an overwhelming sense of freedom and connection to the world. Each moment unfolded like a page in a thrilling novel, filled with unexpected twists and encounters. I dove into the vibrant nightlife of Cebu City, dancing beneath the stars, making friends from different corners of the globe. Together, we shared stories of our travels, forging bonds that felt timeless. Cebu offered not just picturesque landscapes, but a deeper understanding of the Filipino spirit. The resilience, warmth, and vibrant culture enveloped me as I wandered through the city. Each meal was a shared experience, and every conversation was a glimpse into lives lived fully. As my journey came to an end, I reflected on my time in Manila and Cebu. These cities had become more than just destinations. They had woven their stories into the fabric of my life. Departure was bittersweet, as I packed my bags filled with souvenirs, handmade trinkets and memories etched in my heart. The plane lifted into the sky, tracing the path back to home. I gazed out of the window, watching as the islands grew smaller, feeling an ache of longing. Yet, I also felt a profound sense of gratitude. I realized that this adventure had transformed me in ways I couldn't fully articulate. Amidst my travels, I discovered not only the beauty of the Philippines, but also the depth of connection we all share as wanderers on this earth. Each journey begins with a single step into the unknown, and with that step, life unfolds an infinite tapestry of experiences waiting to be embraced. The search for adventure and unexpected discoveries would forever remain in my heart, a call to keep exploring the world with wide-eyed wonder and bravery. As my plane touched down in Manila, I could feel a mix of emotions swirling within me. The weight of anticipation pressed against my chest as I glanced out the small window at the sprawling landscape below. The city appeared vibrant and chaotic, a tapestry of colors and movement that was both exciting and daunting. My heart raced as I disembarked, and a swirl of fear washed over me. The unknown was here, and I was stepping into a world far different from my own. Exiting the airport, I was immediately hit by the warm, humid air that enveloped me like a thick blanket. It felt oppressive, yet invigorating as it coursed through my lungs. The sounds of Manila greeted me like a loud symphony. Honking cars, bustling voices, and the distant laughter of children. I stood still for a moment, taking it all in, mesmerized by the cacophony surrounding me. Locals moved swiftly past me, their faces radiant with life, contrasting the uncertainty etched on my own. The first steps I took on Philippine soil felt monumental. Each footfall was a statement, a declaration of my willingness to embrace the journey ahead despite the apprehension gnawing at my thoughts. I couldn't shake the feeling of being a stranger in a strange land, but there was something exhilarating about navigating foreign streets. I wandered slowly, letting my curiosity guide me, my gaze darting from vibrant jeepneys to colorful market stalls, each corner turning into a new discovery. However, doubt crept in like a shadow, whispering insecurities into my mind. Would I be able to connect with the people? Would the language barrier leave me feeling isolated? I questioned my decision to embark on this adventure, pondering whether I had made the right choice in coming here. Yet, as I walked through the streets, the infectious energy of the city began to wash away my fears. The smiles from strangers, the soothing sound of laughter, and the delicious aroma of street food drew me deeper into the pulse of Manila. It was in those moments of doubt that inspiration blossomed within me. Every city block seemed to tell a story, stories of resilience and joy, hardships and triumphs. I felt an overwhelming sense of respect for the culture that surrounded me. The vibrant murals splashed across buildings whispered tales of artistry and expression, capturing the spirit of a people who have endured so much while still finding reasons to celebrate life. As I ventured further into the heart of Manila, I stumbled upon a small market brimming with life. Vendors called out to passers-by, and the vibrant displays of fruits and vegetables drew me closer. I watched as a woman skillfully prepared a dish I had never seen before, her hands moving with grace and familiarity. The flavors, colors, and aromas filled my senses, wrapping around me like a comforting hug. I couldn't help but smile, realizing that these small interactions, these glimpses into daily life, were what I had come for. My first day in Manila was a beautiful whirlwind of sights and sounds. Each new friend I made, each conversation exchanged with a local wrapped me in a blanket of warmth that slowly assuaged my doubts. Even in a bustling metropolis, the kindness of strangers was a thread binding the experience together. I felt the weight in my chest begin to lift with every shared laugh and every nod of understanding. Reflecting on the whirlwind of feelings within me, I realized that fear, while powerful, was simply a precursor to the joy that is found beyond its boundaries. With every sunset that graced the Manila skyline, my whirlwind of emotions transformed into a tapestry of memories that stitched together not just my first day, but the promise of what lay ahead. The journey had only just begun, and in the heart of Manila, I discovered a sense of belonging and an inspiration that would guide me through the remainder of my travels. As I closed my eyes that night, surrendering to exhaustion, the echo of the day still danced in my mind, a vibrant reminder that life is a profound collection of moments, waiting to be experienced, cherished, and remembered. As I stepped off the plane in Manila, the air was thick with a blend of humidity and anticipation. My senses were immediately assaulted by a cacophony of sounds, the chatter of passengers, the honking of jeepneys weaving through traffic, and the distant melodies of original Filipino music emanating from nearby stalls. I took a deep breath, the scent of fried street food mingling with the wafts of incense from a nearby vendor, instantly transporting me to a land far different from my own. As I navigated through the bustling airport, I felt a nervous flutter in my stomach. Surrounded by new faces, I was acutely aware of feeling both excited and anxious. The locals greeted each other with mabuhay, a warm welcome that enveloped me despite the language barrier. I found myself wishing I could converse fluently, but the smiles exchanged were universal. They felt like a bridge over the gap that words could not cross. Once I settled in Manila, the vibrant streets became my classroom. I ventured outside to explore, eager to absorb everything around me. The Mercado de Avenida intrigued me with its beautiful array of fruits I had never seen before: brightly colored dragon fruit, tiny calamansi limes, and durian, the infamous king of fruits, whose pungent aroma filled the air. I couldn't resist trying everything, and with each bite, I was introduced to a new flavor that danced on my palate, from the rich, savory taste of adobo to the sweet delight of halo halo, a layered dessert that felt like a celebration in a bowl. But not all moments were filled with joy. With thrilling exploration came solitary nights. As I lay in my modest hotel room, I often felt overwhelmed by a sadness that settled in my chest. The loneliness crept in during quiet times, the absence of familiar voices and landscapes washing over me like a wave. In those moments, I would sift through photographs of home, reminding myself that this journey was as much about self-discovery as it was about experiencing new cultures. The next leg of my journey took me to Cebu City. The shift in atmosphere was palpable. The streets of Cebu were alive with a different energy. Motorcycles darted in and out of traffic, and the vibrancy of the Sinulog festival echoed in the chants and music that floated through the air. I found myself swept up in a crowd of locals and tourists, an ocean of humanity celebrating together. I learned to navigate the bustling marketplaces, where vendors called out to me, enticing me with their goods. It was here that I encountered another challenge: the dialect. Cebuano was foreign to me, and although I had memorized a few phrases, the rapid-fire conversations left me scrambling. I decided to embrace the challenge. I mimicked the sounds I heard around me, putting myself out there despite the potential for embarrassment. To my delight, locals appreciated my efforts, and small conversations blossomed into friendships. They shared their stories, inviting me into their lives and offering insights into their daily routines, and that connection helped dispel some of my solitude. Dining in Cebu was an adventure. The streets were lined with eateries serving lechon, the roasted pig that was a staple of celebrations. The first time I tasted it, a crispy piece of skin followed by succulent meat, I was mesmerized. Each meal became not just a necessity, but a journey filled with flavors, textures, and the spirit of Filipino hospitality. I learned to accept food offered to me, a cultural custom that symbolized friendship and acceptance. Each day unfolded with a multitude of lessons. I discovered how to adapt my travel style, finding ways to make myself comfortable amidst the chaos. I used gestures when words escaped me, and slowly but surely, the fear of stumbling through interactions began to fade. I learned that a smile could often convey what language could not, and laughter knew no barriers. As I took to the streets each day, I noticed that I had started to adopt local customs. I appreciated the significance of Kanto culture, food shared at street corners, laughter echoing in the night, and stories traded with neighbors. I began to understand the rhythm of life in this part of the world. The warm sunsets over Cebu's coastline turned into moments of unity, drawing people outside for evening chats and shared meals. The journey was not just about seeing new places, but also about piecing together my own identity within them. The freedom of wearing my vulnerability showed me my resilience. Cooking classes introduced me to the art of Filipino cuisine, where I learned to make my own adobo under the guidance of a kind-hearted chef who became a mentor. While the challenges persisted, occasional miscommunications that left both parties in fits of laughter, feeling out of place in crowded situations, and navigating public transport became an exercise in patience and humor. I found empowerment in each small victory. Every time someone responded positively to my efforts, I felt a surge of confidence. As my time in the Philippines dwindled, the mosaic of experiences I collected felt like a treasure trove. I had transitioned from being an outside observer to embracing the culture fully, from feeling isolated to creating connections that I would cherish long after leaving. With every friend I made and every dish I tried, I unearthed pieces of myself I hadn't known existed. I prepared to leave, carrying with me not just souvenirs, but a newfound appreciation for the resilience of humanity. The bittersweet farewell felt less like an end and more like a beginning. Each goodbye a promise to return, to explore further, and to continue growing in the embrace of unfamiliarity. Looking back at the vibrant cities, the laughter shared, and the challenges navigated, I knew my journey was far from over. It was merely unfolding, waiting for the next chapter to be written. As I arrived in Manila, the bustling capital of the Philippines, I was immediately enveloped by a mix of sounds and smells that marked the city as a true metropolis. The vibrant streets were alive with jeepneys, motorcycles, and the constant flow of pedestrians. My first destination was Rizal Park, a significant historical site and a green oasis amidst the urban chaos. As I strolled through the park, I marveled at the towering monument dedicated to Dr. Jose Rizal, the national hero of the Philippines. The meticulously maintained gardens and the serene ambience offered a peaceful contrast to the city's energy. Next, I wandered over to Intramuros, the historic walled city that dates back to the Spanish colonial period. Walking through the cobblestone streets felt like traveling back in time. I visited Fort Santiago, an impressive fortress with its stone walls and lush surroundings. The fort served as a defense against invaders and later became a prison for Rizal. Standing by the fort's walls, I was filled with a deep sense of history as I contemplated the struggles of the Filipino people. After exploring the fort, I made my way to San Agustin Church, the oldest stone church in the Philippines. Its intricate Baroque architecture and the rich history within its walls left me in awe. I spent time admiring the beautiful altars adorned with gold and religious relics. After soaking in the historical essence of Manila, I decided to venture into the busy markets. Divisoria was a sensory overload in the best way possible, from the vibrant colors of textiles to the enticing smells of street food. Every corner offered something new. I indulged in local delicacies like lumpiang Shanghai and halo halo, each bite bursting with flavor. My senses danced as I navigated through the narrow alleys filled with vendors shouting to attract customers, creating a lively atmosphere that was utterly infectious. The next day, I took a trip to the National Museum complex. The National Museum of Fine Arts showcased stunning works by Filipino artists, and it felt like a celebration of the country's rich artistry and heritage. The imposing architecture of the museum itself was impressive, and the grand halls were filled with beautiful paintings that sparked my interest in the country's history and culture. The museum's highlights included the masterpiece Spoliarium by Juan Luna, a significant work reflecting the Philippines' struggle against colonial rule. Later in the day, I made my way to the bustling district of Makati, home to the Philippines Financial Center. Here, I found a contrasting modernity compared to the historic sites I'd visited earlier. Ayala Triangle Gardens was a refreshing escape, a lush green space surrounded by towering skyscrapers. I grabbed a coffee at a nearby cafe and watched as the city clashed harmoniously with nature, a reminder of the beauty that could be found even in urban environments. My journey continued as I flew to Cebu City, the Queen City of the South. From the moment I touched down, I felt a different vibe. Perhaps it was the slower pace of life or the warmth of the locals, but there was an undeniable charm to Cebu. My first stop was Magellan's Cross, which marked the arrival of Christianity in the Philippines. The cross itself is housed in a small chapel, and as I stood there, I could feel the weight of the significance of the site. Around me, locals and tourists alike offered prayers and lit candles, providing a serene atmosphere that fostered reflection. Next, I visited the Basilica Minor del Santo Niño, adjacent to Magellan's Cross. The church, one of the oldest in the Philippines, is dedicated to the Santo Niño de Cebu, the revered figure that symbolizes the Christian faith in the nation. The interior was magnificent, adorned with vibrant colors and intricate designs, creating a sense of awe and reverence. I took a moment to sit quietly and take in the spirituality that permeated the atmosphere. Cebu City's rich history overflowed at Fort San Pedro, the oldest and smallest fort in the Philippines. The fort's stone walls and age-old structures told stories of the past, while the surrounding green space felt inviting. I enjoyed a peaceful exploration of the fort, taking photographs and imagining what life must have been like during its heyday. The view of the harbor from the fort's vantage point was simply breathtaking, offering a glimpse of the beautiful waters that surrounded Cebu. No visit to Cebu is complete without indulging in its culinary delights. I ventured to the popular Lanton native restaurant, perched on a hillside overlooking the sea. The sun began to set, casting a warm glow over the area. As I savored local dishes like lechon, roasted pig, and seafood, I was reminded of the rich flavors that Filipino cuisine offers. Each dish was prepared with love and tradition, embodying the island's culinary heritage. The friendly service and stunning views made the dining experience unforgettable. To satiate my adventurous spirit, I took a day trip to the nearby island of Bantayan. The pristine beaches and stunning blue waters were a perfect backdrop for a day of relaxation. I lay on the powdery white sand, enjoying the gentle breeze and the sound of waves crashing against the shore. I attempted some local snorkeling, eager to explore the underwater marvels. The vibrant coral reefs and diverse marine life were mesmerizing, and I found myself grateful for the opportunity to connect with nature in such a beautiful setting. Returning to Cebu City, I couldn't miss the opportunity to visit the Tops Lookout. Situated on the mountains overlooking the city, it provided a panoramic view that took my breath away. As evening fell, the city twinkled with lights, creating a captivating scene that encapsulated the vibrancy of life in Cebu. I stood in awe, feeling a deep appreciation for the experiences I had accumulated in such a short period. As my journey came to an end, I reflected on the myriad of experiences that Manila and Cebu City had gifted me. Each location offered a unique story, a glimpse into a culture that was rich and vibrant. The warmth of the people, their traditions, and the landscapes had woven a tapestry of memories that I would carry with me long after departing the islands. My travels had not merely been about the places I visited, but about the connections I made and the history I absorbed, leaving me with an ever-growing thirst to explore more of what the world has to offer. As I stepped onto the bustling streets of a new city, the sounds of honking cars and chatter enveloped me, creating a cacophony that was both exciting and overwhelming. The transportation system was unlike anything I had experienced before. The subway stations were alive with the rhythm of footsteps and the whoosh of trains arriving and departing, each one a tiny universe filled with people from all walks of life. I clutched my transit card tightly, my heart racing as I navigated my way through the labyrinth of tunnels. There was an awkwardness in my movements as I tried to blend in, unsure of where to stand or how to move with the current of commuters rushing past. I felt like an outsider, my heart heavy with self-doubt. Would I ever feel comfortable here? Each stop brought a new wave of anxiety, a fear of getting lost or making a mistake. But as I stumbled through the crowds, something magical happened. At one of the subway stops, I noticed a young woman sitting alone, her sketchbook resting on her lap. Curiosity got the best of me. I approached her gently, drawn by the soft strokes of her pencil and the way she captured the world around her. Her name was Mia, and she quickly became my first unexpected friend in this unfamiliar city. We struck up a conversation, and despite my initial nervousness, I found solace in her warmth. She shared stories of her own adventures, of struggles that mirrored my own, and for the first time, I felt a flicker of belonging. Mia invited me to join her in exploring the city, and our journey was filled with laughter and discovery. We hopped on a bus that took us through narrow streets lined with cafes and street performers. The smell of freshly baked goods wafted through the air, teasing our senses. I smiled as I watched Mia interact with the barista, her genuine enthusiasm infectious. She radiated positivity, and despite the challenges of navigating public transport, I felt buoyed by her presence. Yet, beneath the excitement lay a growing sense of unease. One evening, while waiting for the bus back to our neighborhood, an unsettling figure approached us. His demeanor was erratic, and I sensed danger in the way his eyes darted around, as if he were looking for trouble. The atmosphere shifted, the air thick with tension as he loomed closer. My instincts screamed at me to flee, but I couldn't leave Mia alone. We exchanged nervous glances, silently forming a plan to distance ourselves without appearing rude. For a moment, I felt a wave of panic wash over me, the very real fear that our safety was at risk. Just when I thought I might break, I remembered Mia's laughter and the stories we had shared. I steeled myself, focusing on finding strength in our friendship. Just then, another passenger emerged from the shadows, loudly engaging the man in conversation. It distracted him just enough for us to slip away, my heart pounding in my chest, but relieved that we had escaped unscathed. That experience shook me, awakening a fear I hadn't anticipated. It stung to realize that while I enjoyed newfound friendships, I was also exposed to dangers lurking just beneath the surface of this vibrant city. Later that night, as I lay in bed, I wrestled with my emotions. The external conflict of navigating this metropolis met the internal struggle of wanting to explore but fearing what lay beyond. Days turned into weeks, and I found myself growing more confident in my surroundings, all while making more connections. I started meeting new faces, sharing coffee with aspiring artists and gregarious book lovers. Each encounter brought new insights, helping to paint a more vivid picture of life here. However, the shadows of my earlier experiences lingered, a reminder that with every joyful moment came the possibility of chaos. One crisp autumn day, as I made my daily trek to a nearby park, I bumped into an elderly man sitting on a bench, carrying a pile of books under his arm. He struck up a conversation, sharing stories of his youth and the lessons he'd learned. He spoke of the importance of resilience in the face of adversity, and somehow, his words seeped into my soul like warmth on a cold day. I listened intently, moved by his wisdom and the strength emanating from him. As I continued my journey, his words echoed in my mind. Every encounter, every struggle, added to the tapestry of our lives. That day, I felt a shift within me. I understood that the challenges weren't merely obstacles. They were stepping stones to growth, forging connections that would not only enrich my life, but shape who I was becoming. With every experience, whether it was the thrill of making new friends, the anxiety of facing danger, or the inspiration drawn from unexpected mentors, I began to embrace the complexity of this new life. The conflicting emotions, fear and excitement, sadness and joy, intertwined like the colors of a sunset. Each day became a testament to my resilience. I learned to appreciate the beauty of this journey, understanding that with each step forward, I was not just surviving, but truly living. In the end, the city transformed from a daunting maze into a vibrant tapestry woven from countless stories, each thread a reminder of my strength and the connections I had forged in the face of adversity. Walking through the streets, I no longer felt like an outsider. Instead, I embraced my place in this ever-unfolding narrative, ready to face the unknown with an open heart. Once upon a time, I found myself in the vibrant city of Manila, Philippines. The air was thick with the scent of street food, bustling markets, and the lively sounds of jeepneys darting through traffic. I had arrived seeking adventure, hoping to experience the rich culture and history of this incredible archipelago. What I didn't expect was how this trip would change my perspective on life forever. On my first day, I immersed myself in the history of Intramuros, the historic walled city. As I wandered the cobblestone streets, I stumbled upon the San Agustin Church, a UNESCO World Heritage Site. The stunning architecture and intricate details captivated me. I met a local guide named Marco, who was passionate about sharing his knowledge of Filipino culture. He spoke of the resilience of the Filipino people, having overcome centuries of colonization and natural disasters. I felt a spark of inspiration igniting within me. The next day, Marco invited me to a traditional fiesta in one of the nearby neighborhoods. The streets were filled with laughter, music, and, of course, food. The community came together to celebrate with colorful decorations and performances. I tried lechon, a roasted pig, and learned to dance the tinikling, a traditional folk dance. The sheer joy radiating from the locals was contagious, and I found myself laughing and dancing alongside them, letting go of my inhibitions. As I ventured towards Cebu City, I noticed a shift within me. The landscape changed from the urban sprawl of Manila to stunning beaches and majestic mountains. I decided to explore the stunning Kawasan Falls, where the turquoise waters called to me. I joined a group of travelers eager to experience canyoneering. Climbing up and jumping into the refreshing water was exhilarating. As I soared through the air before plunging into the depths, I felt fear transform into thrill, leaving my worries behind. At the bottom of the canyon, under the cascading waterfall, I had a profound moment of reflection. Surrounded by beauty, I realized how much I had been carrying my burdens on my shoulders, weighed down by expectations and fears. This journey was teaching me to embrace spontaneity and savor the present moment. The next day, I decided to visit the historic Magellan's Cross, a significant landmark that symbolized the arrival of Christianity in the Philippines. Standing before the wooden cross, I thought about how the Philippines had melded various cultures throughout its history, creating a unique and beautiful tapestry. I felt a connection to the struggles and triumphs of the past, which resonated deeply with my own life. Feeling the urge for more adventure, I signed up for a tour to Oslab to swim with whale sharks. As I floated in the warm waters with these gentle giants, I marveled at their beauty and grace. It was a humbling experience to witness the sheer size of these creatures up close. It reminded me of my place in the world and the importance of safeguarding our environment and its inhabitants. As the days went by, I encountered countless people who shared their stories and wisdom, each encounter enhancing my journey. There was a local artist I met named Liza, who painted vibrant scenes of everyday Filipino life. We sat together at a cafe, and she shared her dream of showcasing her art globally. Her passion was infectious, and I couldn't help but admire her determination against life's challenges. With my trip reaching its climax, I participated in a community project organized by Marco and Liza, helping to restore a cultural heritage site in Cebu that had been damaged by a recent earthquake. The act of giving back tied together my experiences in the Philippines. It wasn't merely about sightseeing and thrill-seeking. It was about connection, understanding, and making a difference. I witnessed the communal spirit as people came together, working tirelessly, each one sharing their skills and stories. I knew this experience would stay with me long after I left. As my adventure in the Philippines drew to a close, I took a moment to reflect on the transformative journey I had undertaken. Standing on a cliff overlooking the ocean, with the sunset painting the sky in hues of orange and pink, I felt a deep sense of peace. However, the feeling was tinged with uncertainty. Where would life take me next? At the airport, as I prepared to board my flight, I received a message from Marco. "I hope this is not the end, but just the beginning," it read. Attached was a photo of a beautiful beach in Thailand, a destination I had never considered until now. Suddenly, I found myself drawn to explore more, to venture into the unknown once again. Inspired by my time in the Philippines, I made a decision that would shape my future. The adventures I found there would lead me to seek new horizons, the stories yet to unfold, waiting for me just beyond the horizon.